The Man Who Looked Down on Everyone, a story about arrogance, humility, and an unexpected ending. Ethan Caldwell had always believed he was better than everyone else. At 29, he was the youngest senior manager at Holden and Pierce, a prestigious consulting firm known for sculpting the next generation of business elites. Ethan's crisp suits, perfectly polished shoes, and icy confidence became his personal signature. People whispered as he walked by, not because they admired him, but because they feared him. He liked it that way. To Ethan, kindness was weakness, humility was pointless, and other people existed mainly to highlight his superiority. He judged people instantly by their clothes, their accents, their social media profiles, even by how confidently or not they walked. So, when the story begins on a rainy Monday morning, Ethan is already irritated. His driver is late, his coffee is lukewarm, and worst of all, he has been assigned a junior assistant again. His last one quit crying after only 3 weeks. Ethan felt no remorse. If they couldn't keep up, they didn't deserve to be there. That morning, as thunder rolled across the city, Ethan marched into the lobby of Holden and Pierce and found a young woman waiting nervously at the reception desk. Her hair was frizzy from the rain, her shoes slightly damp, and she clutched a cheap notebook. Ethan frowned. "Don't tell me you're my new assistant." The woman straightened up.
"Yes, Mr. Caldwell. I'm Ava. Ava Lynn."
Ethan looked her up and down with sharp disdain. "You're late."
"I'm 5 minutes early, sir."
"Then be 10 minutes early next time," he snapped, brushing past her. Ava followed quietly, learning quickly that anything she said could irritate him. Inside his glass office overlooking the gray skyline, Ethan reviewed her resume with visible disappointment. "You graduated from a small state university?" he asked, as if accusing her of a crime.
"Yes, sir."
"And you worked at a community center?"
"For 3 years."
Ethan sighed. "This company demands excellence. I hope you're not planning to waste my time." Ava nodded, though her eyes revealed a flicker of something hurt. Frustration, resolve, Ethan didn't care enough to find out. A series of small moments, the weeks that followed were a collection of Ethan's constant belittling, sprinkled with Ava's quiet endurance. He criticized her handwriting. He mocked her cheap pen. He rolled his eyes when she asked for clarification on tasks. He even said once, "If you can't figure out something this simple, maybe you're in the wrong building." Colleagues noticed, but chose silence. No one wanted to confront Ethan Caldwell, the rising star with powerful connections. But something about Ava was different from his previous assistants. She didn't break down. She didn't quit. She remained polite, focused, and strangely calm, as if she were waiting for something only she knew. And then came the message that changed everything. The Lakewood Project. One Thursday afternoon, Ethan received an assignment that could define the next decade of his career. The Lakewood Expansion Proposal, a multi-million-dollar project involving a chain of eco-resorts. Winning this project meant promotion, fame, and direct access to the firm's partners, exactly everything Ethan craved. He immediately ordered Ava into his office. "Clear your weekend," he said. "We're going to Lakewood to meet the board. I need you to prepare all supporting documents, arrange accommodations, and summarize every report on the resort chain's performance for the last 5 years." Ava blinked.
"All of that, by tomorrow morning?"
Was that unclear?
"No, sir."
She worked past midnight that day. Ethan didn't notice the Lakewood trip. The next morning, a sleek black company car picked them up. As they drove through pine forests and past shimmering lakes, Ethan typed aggressively on his laptop to absorb the notice of fighting motion sickness quietly beside him. When they arrived at Lakewood Lodge, Ethan scoffed, "This place looks rustic." To rustic. Ava looked around at the wooden cabins, the mist curling above the lake, and the serene paths lined with lanterns.
"I think it's beautiful."
He gave her a look that said, "Your opinion doesn't matter." They checked in and headed to a meeting with the resort's leadership team. Ethan expected a group of people dressed like corporate executives. Instead, he saw a diverse group. An older man in a flannel jacket, 2 women wearing hiking boots, and a gray-haired lady knitting by the window. Ethan's lips curled. This is the board. The flannel jacket man stood? Yes, and you must be Ethan Caldwell. Ethan offered a stiff handshake, but the board's eyes shifted to Ava. And you must be Ava, the gray-haired woman said warmly. We've heard quite a bit about you. Ethan frowned. Why are they greeting her, not me? But he brushed it off. They were probably being polite. The presentation. Ethan began his pitch with polished confidence, pacing like a seasoned performer. He spoke fast, threw around big numbers, and used complex terminology to show superiority. But slowly, he noticed the board members exchanging uneasy looks. After 30 minutes, the gray-haired lady raised her hand. Mr. Caldwell, have you visited any of our eco-sites before? No, but the data tells me everything I need to know. A pause filled the room. Ava glanced down, uncomfortable. The older man asked, Do you know why our guests choose Lakewood? Because they want a high-quality vacation. Ethan replied smugly. The man sighed. No, they choose us because we prioritize people, community, and nature values your proposal barely mentions. Ethan stiffened. With respect, profit matters more than sentiment. Silence. A long, cold silence. Then the gray-haired woman said softly, You remind me of someone who forgot what truly matters. Ethan bristled. He opened his mouth to argue, but Ava gently stepped forward.
May I speak?
She asked. The board nodded immediately. Ethan stared at her. Shocked, Ava walked to the front and opened her notebook, her cheap, worn notebook. But inside, she had sketches of the resort's landscapes, notes about customer experiences, summaries of community impact, and ideas for sustainable improvements. She spoke softly but clearly, explaining how any expansion should protect the local environment, respect the lodge's heritage, and enhance guest connection to nature. By the time she finished, the entire room was engaged, leaning forward, nodding, asking questions. Ethan could feel the ground shifting beneath him, the revelation. After the meeting, the board invited Ethan and Ava to dinner. Ethan declined, offended by how they listened more to his assistant, but Ava accepted. The next morning, during the final negotiation, something happened that shattered Ethan's confidence entirely. The gray-haired woman addressed the room. Before we proceed, I think it's time we properly introduce ourselves. This is Harold Lynn, founder of Lakewood Resorts. The man in the flannel nodded kindly. And I, she continued, am Margaret Lynn, co-founder and executive chairwoman. She smiled warmly at Ava. And we are Ava's grandparents. Ethan felt the world freeze. Ava stepped forward, cheeks pink. I wanted to learn from the bottom up, she said quietly. So I applied to Halden and Pierce without using my family name. Margaret finished, and we observed how Mr. Caldwell treated her, and others. The disappointment in her eyes was devastating. Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came out. Harold added firmly, We choose partners based on values, respect, humility, humanity, not ego. Then came the final blow. We request Ava Lynn as the project lead, and Mr. Caldwell is removed from the assignment. The collapse. Back at headquarters, news traveled faster than wildfire. Ava Lynn, the assistant he belittled, was now the lead on the largest project of the year. Ethan, once the golden boy, was under internal review for workplace conduct. His downfall wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, almost sad. Colleagues who once feared him no longer avoided eye contact, they simply looked through him. His office felt cold, smaller. For the first time, Ethan realized he had no real friendships, no allies, no goodwill left. In his silence, memories replayed. The sarcastic comments, the dismissive looks, the unnecessary cruelty. He saw himself clearly, maybe for the first time. And he didn't like what he saw. A chance at redemption. Weeks later, Ethan found himself outside Lakewood Lodge again, not for business, but by invitation. Ava met him by the lake, the fog lifting as morning sunlight spread across the water. He expected anger or triumph. Instead, she offered compassion.
My grandparents want to give you another chance, but only if you genuinely learn from this.
She said gently. Ethan swallowed. I'm sorry, Ava, for everything. Her smile was small, but real.
I believe people can change.
They walked along the water's edge, Ethan listening more than talking, a new experience for him. Ava explained the resort's values, the community it supported, and the kind of leadership the world needed. And for the first time in his adult life, Ethan listened with humility. Transformation. Back at work, Ethan wasn't the same. He greeted the receptionist warmly, he thanked interns. He apologized to former colleagues he had hurt. He asked for guidance instead of pretending to know everything. It wasn't easy. Humility never is. But word slowly spread. Ethan Caldwell has changed. He didn't rise as quickly as before, but this time, the respect he earned was real. And one day, he received an unexpected letter. We see your growth. You're welcome to collaborate with us again. Harold and Margaret Lynn. Ethan smiled, not with arrogance, but with gratitude. He had lost everything because he looked down on others. And he rebuilt everything by finally looking inward. Moral of the story: never judge someone by appearance or background. You don't know who they truly are or who they may become. Arrogance blinds you. Humility opens doors. Treat everyone with dignity, because life has a way of humbling those who forget they are human. Respect is not demanded, it is earned through character, kindness, and integrity. The person you underestimate today may be the one who chooses your fate tomorrow.